welcome to Wolves After
Welcome.
Dark. Timberwolves lose the 114 to 108. Oh, I
114 to
got it.
106.
Amazing. Oh, 106, even worse.
Yeah.
Timberwolves lose a terrible, terrible loss where they're up by 20 points at a point. And there was one lead change in the game. And can you guess when that lead change was? With like a minute to go. But Ashwin, what are your thoughts immediately after experiencing a very Timberwolves experience?
This is the full Timberwolves experience. Yeah, we got the matinee, we got the show, we got the show, we got the dinner. Announced on Twitter, apparently, for all the staffers. Again. Crazy. I think this is the most classic Timberwolves game of all classic Timberwolves games. You have a strong promising start. You have the best opening start you'll ever see in a Timberwolves arena, and Ant couldn't miss. Ant popped off for 18 points in that first quarter. Could not be stopped, and he almost single-handedly outscored the Wizards. It's so stupid how insanely efficient we were. And we could have been like 65% from the floor, but insert the second unit, we don't look like a G League team.
No.
We look terrible out there. And so we settle, we overcompensate, we struggle to care. The lead dissipates. Random players like, Corey Kispert pops off on us. The random white dude always gets us. Right?
Who is Kispert?
Who the hell is Kispert? He even got a 4-point play tonight. Who the fuck is that guy? Third quarter. All right, we ramp it up again. We get back to an 18-point lead. And then insert that. Patented second unit. Patented Jalen drives. Turnovers galore. No defense from Nas. And it becomes quickly a 4-point game. Actually, it became an 8-point game with like 9 minutes left to go in the fourth. Insert all of our starters, and we couldn't keep it going. They didn't get enough rest and or whatever nonsense. We had no flow. They went to a zone, and we couldn't defeat the zone. You know who was a really good zone buster was D'Lo. But we won't need to talk about it because all we did today was lose our composure, lose our lead, lose everything that we gave ourselves. And what a critical loss, because the next few games are even more important tonight. And so that made this night the most important night out of all of them.
Yeah. I think that's what's super disappointing about this game is not only did you have such a good lead in this game and lead nearly the entire game. I mean, one, this is going into the All-Star break. So now you have a week and a day off. So there's no, you could have gone out on a high note, had like a nice break, and goes to the All-Star game. You come back refreshed and you're like ready to hit the ground running again. Now you have to think about this for 8 days and be like, wow, we blew that game against the Wizards, and now we have to catch up again. Because, even though we play the Hornets coming back, that's our last easy game for basically ever. The rest of the season, as we discussed on our last show, or at least my last show, the schedule is awful. After that, it's Golden State, Clippers, Lakers, Kings, 76ers, Brooklyn, Hawks, Boston. Those are the games that we're playing. This was against a 10th place Wizards team that
is actively tanking for Wembanyama.
Yeah. So you just can't lose this game and let Kyle Kuzma,
oh my God,
Kispert or whatever his name is, just go crazy. You can't do that. And sure, Ant defended that three that I think that was the three that it didn't put him in the lead, but it brought him up like 4 points or something like that. Sure, Ant played great defense on that, but you can't let it get to that situation because these are all NBA players that can make a shot at any time. So you just can't allow that to happen. And that's just the story of the Timberwolves. They allow these things to be possible, which gives it at least a 50-50 shot of happening, and it happened tonight. So,
yeah, and you know what that means is that this is not even a playoff team. A playoff team is going to destroy us.
Yeah.
Any team that's going to be slightly above at our level of competition or above is going to take any of those opportunities, any of those wide, those little gaps of an aperture, and just pry right through. And so we have no room for error. Actually, the rest of the way, there was a game. The Lakers won whatever the fuck it was yesterday, and they even interviewed D'Lo after that game. And I'm a little obsessed with Lakers right now, and I hate it. But um, it's like one game at a time, right, for them. But they have
Mhm.
4 or 5 games to make up. We have like 4 or 5 games to fuck up.
And it just seems inevitable that both will happen.
Both will
The
happen, right?
Lakers the
Yeah.
Lakers are going to make their way back into not only the play-in conversation, the standalone playoff conversation,
Yeah.
and we might not be a play-in team. It's
And we might
very
be looking
possible.
up,
Yeah,
being like one,
it's
2, 3 Cancun. Um,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of storylines that happen tonight. I don't know if I want to do as much as I want to do, like the tier list. We could rapid fire the tier list. We could
Yeah.
rapid fire some like commentary, but we would normally go into like 5-hour length conversations about Jalen Noel and his fit on another team that's probably in Beijing. But I, I want to show something new tonight. And I think it's the story of the game. There was, I don't know if you can see my mouse. That's awesome that you can. This is the Ant Show. The Ant
Oh,
Show and Gobert, and it's our lead. This is us. Like going down is good, apparently, for the
yeah.
home team. This is us kicking ass, 20-point lead, like 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. We let off the gas a bit for no reason. Kyle Kuzma and Kispert gets a 4-point play. That's what this shit is right here. Look at me doing the whole like Jim Peterson window concepts.
Yeah, this is
This is
very
window
Windows.
concepts. All right, whatever. He also said that. Uh, Never mind. But this is also around the time where the subs are now in. So here's Nas. This is Nas, and then here's Noel, right? And that is our team in a nutshell. We can play really well for these blips, but then once we kind of take our defense out of the equation, like TP kind of helped us here. This is slow mo right here, kind of keeping us afloat. But and then here's like TP and slow mo giving us a lead, and here comes Ant, and he didn't score much in the rest of the way, but this is Gobert as well. And then here's Ant explosion right here. This is an Ant explosion right here. And then Ant goes to the bench right here. Right. This is Ant going to the bench, and this right here. I don't know, guys, but it smells like Nas and Noel. I'm done. I'm gonna stop this. But the only thing that we also wanted to highlight was that's their only lead of the game, and that's the end, and that's all that matters. And that's the takeaway is like the 48 minutes or whatever, 44 minutes of game happened prior to the collapse. Like we are such a different team in very different moments in the game, and we need to find a steady hand throughout. What's really nice is like Jordan McLaughlin's healthy, and you would think that Jordan McLaughlin and Mike Conley could produce for us. They didn't do anything tonight, and our former point guard would have taken these opportunities and probably been on the floor during these opportunities. I'm not saying I'm a D'Lo like responder here, but he would have been taking over these moments, and we don't have that guy now because, as someone is saying right now, the whole offense. Godfrey is saying this. The whole offense revolves around Ant. Conley can never take over. Gobert needs a lot of people to like play into his hands, and the only other person is slow mo, and he's good for a couple shot putts. That's a game. So
D'Lo revisionism. Sorry.
divisionism. I don't know. It's just like we don't have that other player, and hopefully, Cat. This is the big boy saying, and kind of coming in clutch with our little commentary here.
That was
Cat
perfect. Yeah.
Cat is going to kind of fill in a lot of this, and hopefully he finds his place in the second quarter, like starting amongst the crap that we will be putting out there. But
Yeah, that will be, and again, like, I don't know if I wanna dive deep into these conversations tonight, but that really is the most interesting thing that's gonna happen this season is how do you get Cat back in the lineup? Because like, right now, Ant plays most of the first, and then he ends up playing, like, I don't know, it's there's, like, weird chunks that he does, but, like, he plays most of the first, and then it's the bench to do most of the second. So,
Yeah.
like, if you can play Cat for like the first 6 minutes of the game or something like that, take him out, and then put him in for like a huge chunk of the second quarter,
Yeah.
maybe that does resolve some issues. But,
Yeah.
we
It
were
will.
talking about this, it will, but we were talking about this before we went live. Cat coming back is going to fill some holes, of course, but it's also going to create problems. And that's not necessarily like, I don't know, it's not us hating on Cat. Cat just has legitimate downfalls of his game where he gets like super offensive foul happy, and like kind of behind the back passes, the stuff that I complain about all the time. So those things are going to come back, but with that comes an elite shooter, and a floor spacer. So it's how does that all work together, because there's going to be obvious positives, but there's going to be obvious negatives also. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Um, I think this is definitely going to be a quick show because what's going to be exciting is this break. We get to recollect ourselves. The front office is going to like, how do we incorporate all this new stuff now? I don't know where Conley's plans are, but I hope he's like reading the playbooks because he looked like an absolute dud out there tonight, and he had his like Utahism, like fallback play calls where he could go to Gobert, and he gave a lot of attention with Gobert. Gobert had a great game, and not like I would say like good to great game. Um, but it also kind of questions like late game execution. And what we did in the Dallas game is we actually subbed Gobert out, and we brought in a smaller lineup. We had slow mo at the
Hmm.
five and like things like that, and we had Gobert
Yes.
out there the whole time tonight.
Yeah, the entire
And
fourth. Yeah.
that entire time they played zone on us, and we could not deal with it. Who's a zone buster is Nas. Who's a zone buster? Like all those other players who can shoot. And uh, Gobert can't. And Gobert was like flubbing a lot of passes that were thrown his way. And so it was just kind of nonsense. And it's another thing that I'm looking at strongly. And this would be like another positive for Cat. Cat would fill in this role
Yes.
completely. But like,
Yes.
should Gobert be playing late game? Like even when we're winning, even when we're up, should Gobert be playing? Because he's a
No.
liability.
I mean, I guess it depends on what team you're going up against, but like tonight, no, because like with them having Porzingis out there, it just causes issues because, like, immediately Bradley Beal's going down the court, switching on to Gobert, and Gobert can't handle that. So he's pulling up for mid range, he's pulling up for three, like he has everything available to him because Gobert is out there. And then you have to put Ant or whoever switches onto Porzingis, who's literally 7'3",
Mhm.
and like they could easily, if Gobert was somehow capable of closing out and causing some disruption to like Beal or whoever was switched on. Like they just give it to Porzingis. Porzingis can dunk on literally anyone else on our team, unless you have somebody like Cat, or like Nas, even just like have these options that are a little bit quicker and able to you know defend at a higher level, outside of the paint. So yeah, sorry, my
No,
apartment's
no,
on fire.
it's chill. I love the ambiance. The ambiance is great. Like I know you're gonna have some insane pasta coming up here, or a stir fry or something. So or both. Ooh, that'd be
I
tasty.
don't even
So
know.
it was 30-23 in terms of point differential. 7 point differential in the second quarter. 38-19 in the fourth quarter. We had Kyle Anderson execute and zilch from everyone else. That's a pretty embarrassing fourth quarter, maybe one of the worst in our
Mhm.
season. Um, Ant showed up for 2 quarters and was an A1 for those quarters, and then he was solid defensively throughout the whole game. But another part of his game that needs to grow, and we have to like watch him grow. We have to wait for him to grow out of this. Is that he's very prone to making mistakes, and he's trying to involve everyone. And I love that about him. I love that more than almost anything else that he's doing. But he has 6 turnovers tonight, and those are so costly when we're in the flow of the game. He's like, you know, trying to do one pass too many or one dribble too much, like
Mhm.
going into the wrong kind of coverage and trying to do something. And I love the fact that he is evolving his game. His bag is insanely full of all sorts of play, like all sorts of things that he can do. He can do anything with the ball. He's evolving his game where he's also now posting up players. He's evolving his game where he's now driving and pushing players off, right? So he's like getting what he needs. but he's also trying to learn how to pass to Gobert. He's trying to pass out of coverage. He's getting double teamed, and how can he respond to
Mm-hmm.
that? Because this team is only functional with Ant driving heavy usage right now
Yep.
because we don't have that other player who scores at will, and that could be called Jalen Noel. I never want to see him on the court again.
Yeah,
That player is such a negative.
he is really such a negative, and it's painful to watch. Shabazz Muhammad 2.0
Yeah,
out
totally.
there, and it's just I can't handle it. But
Yeah.
you want to do a speed run of the tier list?
Just hand out grades. Just hand out grades, and it's mid season report. Um
Yes.
um
Whoa.
I I think we can already just say sorry. We can already kind of punch in a couple players. So Nas Reed had a pretty good offensive game. We
Mhm.
don't really see it in the stat line, but his defensive game is basically the reason why everything was just happening so easily in the paint. He doesn't know how to switch as easily as our others, so he has problems recovering. And I think he's lazy. I think he ball watches a lot. I think he was a D, if not a Wancho tonight. I'm sorry. I love the Nas Reed that has been offensively giving us whatever he needs, but he's been kind of awful. Another automatic D or L is Jalen Noel. Anytime the ball's
Yeah.
in his hands, he doesn't look for anyone else. He is just
No.
chucking. He is just chucking, and it's awful. His layups are a mistake every time, and
Hmm.
I don't want to even read off their stats because they're so ass.
Yeah. Yep. And he
Um,
goes to the basket almost too fast when he does layups. Like he has to compensate so much for the speed that he's traveling that it's just like I don't know. It's just difficult shots. He's making the most easy shot in basketball difficult, and it's just insanely painful.
Jordan McLaughlin, aka Tyus Jones 2.0, but not from Minneapolis. Is like the ATO kind of king, right? He never really turns the ball over. He does a steady hand. 0 assists, 2 turnovers. D. This is the worst game I've seen from Jordan McLaughlin. He coughed it up too many times, but also he didn't do anything. He didn't really do anything tonight. Um, he had a steal, I think, but that's cool. And Torian Prince, I think 22 minutes maybe was a little he was a little low, but we had our bigs kind of working tonight. So with Jaden and Slow-Mo, they were probably one of our better players tonight. So like a C or like a C is probably fine for him.
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry, I'm gonna
I'm
cough.
down with the C. That's okay.
A little
Oh,
backstory is, maybe I watched a little bit more of the game than Cameron did because Cameron's a busy boy these days. So sorry if it's like
this is true.
a lot of me tonight, and I'm trying not to do that generally. But if chime in whenever you can.
I'm trying to make it more of a you show than a me show, even when I have watched the games.
Uh,
You're the one that knows what you're talking about. I'm the one that regurgitates everything you say.
I have a love hate relationship with Nas Reed right now. Nas Reed on offense is sometimes B if not A tier on a nightly basis, but tonight it was a C. Hate relationship with Nas Reed is I think he can defend better than he has been. I think he's one of the
Mhm.
quicker lateral bigs in the
Yeah.
league, but he doesn't
Yep.
use it. He doesn't use those tools. And absolute wancho tonight. And I had to say that. It's gonna be great to
He's
have that three. Go ahead.
he's learned it on like offensively, he is fast. Like when he does dribble moves now. Like it's sort of crazy to watch, and it almost always seems like a travel to me because of how fast he's moving for a big. But it's impressive. But it's like he just hasn't learned how to translate that to defense yet. Or as you said earlier, maybe he's lazy.
Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty shitty bench tonight. And I would say a large reason why we lost this game was their bench compared to our bench. They had Kispert, Adiva, Delon Wright, who I've always loved. Actually, I've always loved Delon Wright.
Yeah,
And these
same.
guys are just tall. They're ball handlers. Kispert is a slinger. He had a 4-point play, 4 for 6 from three, 15 points. We don't need to talk about the Wizards, but that's insane. Off the bench, we had
I'm
someone.
so
We
I'm so sick of these people that I've never heard their name before have
Yep,
career highs against the Timberwolves. That if that could stop happening, I could care less about playoffs. I could care less about anything. I just need to be able to pronounce everybody's name and hear
yeah.
it before the Timberwolves game.
And DeLon Wright kind of kicked our ass, like in a lot of ways. And I just like his size. Nikhil Alexander Walker had some moments against him and actually did okay. But like, we're not here trying to like trickle in. I can't. I'm going to call him Nah. I don't know because I don't want to say his whole name all the time. So like, we're not going to really trickle in Nah right now in like meaningful games. Like we're going to have to work him in during moments where it doesn't matter. In those moments, it mattered. So it's just kind of frustrating. This game had the makings of a blowout in like 4 minutes. We were up 10. It was insane. And I couldn't wait to see the Minot show, right? Like, who the fuck is Minot? I can't wait to see more of him. But this game became very competitive in the second half, and it sucks because like these are the kind of games that we just have to have. Moving on to our starting lineup. I wanted to say like the MVPs. I'm just gonna kind of just bulk them together. Were Jaden McDaniels and Kyle Anderson, but like they are just role players. They shine so bright in their roles, but they're just role players. And we need our others to come to play, and the bench didn't do it tonight. So it has to be so much on Ant, right? Everything has to rely so heavily on Ant. And if you double Ant as we saw, like they did a whole lot of that in the second half, like he slows down and our offense slows down. And then we start chucking or we give Gobert one-on-one matchups and he doesn't know how to play. He doesn't have a toolkit at all. Like he is just lob it up and jam, right? Like,
yeah.
So in a nutshell, I'm going to kind of bulk them all together. Like, honestly, Conley, Wancho, swear to God, like there was several plays that I think he did the right play. He did the right thing. So it's like a D, it's a C or whatever. Zero, nothing offensively. He's an O man. What I did on my previous podcast, we would call people who are 0 point starters O mans. Like, just he didn't do anything with his time out there, and we need him to be supplementing Ant, not doing nothing.
Well, like the last game, he hit a few threes in the last game. He was like, I don't know, he had 3 or 4 threes, and like that's perfect. Like that's all we need from Mike Conley, to supplement Ant, like you said, and then especially when Carl comes back, if Conley can be hitting 3 threes a game, sign me up. Like I'm totally fine with that. But
it's actually pretty evident that Conley is going to be our 5th option on offense. Like it's going to be Jaden probably as the 4th option now as opposed to 5th.
Yeah.
And Gobert is going to be heavily like looked at, right? We're going to be trying to feed Gobert because we want, getting in the bonus
he's
is
number
awesome
1
and everything. Yeah, and he's number 1.
Well, that's what everybody like. It seems like that's what we're forcing to happen. We need Gobert to be our number 1 scorer, and Ant is just like fighting through the system to actually become the number 1.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. Gobert started this game out strong, like very, very strong on both sides of the ball. And then I think he started coughing it up, and I think he was like getting the ball in different positions than he's used to, or different times. Like he's running to the basket as opposed to like he's already there. He has different. He has butterfinger hands to begin with, but you have to throw him a perfect pass for him to execute it. But I thought Gobert was probably a B, and I would almost say C, but it's almost a 20 point effort. 17 points, 19 rebounds, and an assist here or there. And he doesn't get into foul trouble. That's great, right? But he's also putting himself in a position where we don't know what to do with him on offense because they're zoning. And like that's a problem. And I think this is a absolute Finch L, where we could have responded by putting someone else out there instead of him. So it's not his fault, but a byproduct of him is the defense reacting by going zone.
Yep. It worked the previous game, taking him out. And sure, maybe his feelings were hurt a little bit by that in the post-game comments. He was talking about how he wants to be out there, but it's like, you just like, he says he's for the team, and perhaps he is. And I know he wants to be out there, but the comments that he made after it, whether they were meant to be the way they were or not, they come off as like he's demanding to be out there in the last few minutes. And it's like, we need you not to be out there the last couple minutes because of exactly what happened tonight. The graph you showed of us in the last 3 minutes of the game losing it. Like that is why you don't play Gobert down the stretch.
And maybe we're going to eat our own words because
I love eating N-words,
I'm
but
a
it never
genuine
happened.
fan. I'm a genuine fan of Cat. I'm a genuine fan of our team more than anything. But like
Mhm,
Cat is going to answer a lot of these possible lineup situations. Like we're gonna have
mhm,
Cat out there, so like automatically the Gobert issue could be easily answered by just having Cat out there instead. And like
mhm.
when the second unit is out there and we need someone else out there to do a lot of bulk scoring, it is so easy to have Cat out there. And um, you know what's been missing in Cat's like arsenal is the post up. We loved the post up Cat, and he's so good down there. Um, Conley will feed him, but like just that dynamic is going to be great. But then we have to grow into that, right? These situations with where Cat can fill in is going to be great. But tonight we don't have Cat. We have to figure it out on our own, and we don't have that other player to really push it out. Slow mo did the best possible job he could tonight. I want to say A, if not A1, if we won, but he was awesome. I don't think he did much anything wrong. I think he had to be a better, like a bigger player than his role tonight. I want to give him an A.
He's an
18
A.
points for slow mo, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 turnover, 2 steals. This dude did it all tonight. Um, and even got to the line several times. And in the moments where we were like, we need a bucket, it wasn't Ant, it was slow mo at the free throw line. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Um, who do we have left? It's just Ant or
Well,
Jaden.
Jaden
Jaden in there.
McDaniels, 33 minutes, 15 points, 8 rebounds. That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to say A, but you know, we're gonna do a B. We're gonna give him a B because um, I love his effort defensively, but his role tonight was like I don't know if he was switching on Beal or he was mostly on Kyle Kuzma. It was like one or the other. He could I don't know. He couldn't have done a whole lot more. I would say that much. And our final player of the
Jaden,
night,
Jaden.
Anthony Edwards, 34 points, 10 free throw attempts, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 fouls, 3 steals, 6 turnovers, 3 steals. By the way, do you know who the league leader in steals is?
Mm-mm.
Anthony Edwards.
Is it
That's
really?
Anthony Edwards.
Nice.
And so he's now eclipsed 100 steals this season. That's insane to me that he's
That
up there.
is.
He's also like number
Mhm.
one in minutes and everything, but we already knew that. 26 shots is a lot, and it's going to be this way until Cat comes back for sure. And I really hope that Cat has this aggressive bone in him as opposed to like needing to help Gobert and all that stuff out because we really need we need that 1-2. We need the two in the punch right now. I want to say it's an A for offense and even most of his defense. Um, but I think it's like a B, if not like a B minus because of his like carelessness with some of the ball sometimes. And
Yeah,
it's 34 points, it's 34 points, but he's like a B minus to me.
and it's also kind of the slowdown factor because what did he have after the first quarter? Was it like 16,
Yeah,
18 points or something like that?
yeah.
And like, sure, like I mean, not like you have to stay on pace with exactly what you have in the first quarter, but like, I mean, he had 18 in the first quarter, and how many did you say he ended up with?
Yeah, 34. So 18 in the first, 4 in
Yeah,
the second, 9 or 10 I think in the third and like next to nothing in the fourth. And that's when we need him. It's hard.
yeah.
It's harsh to also be him right now because he
Mhm.
has to carry on so much more of a burden and a weight. And Conley isn't looking to take the shot. Conley's looking to pass to Ant.
Yeah,
Gobert is like either putting it back or looking to pass it out to Ant. Everyone's looking for Ant, and Ant's getting doubled.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I think this was the potential to be like a really good Ant night. Like, after scoring 18 in the first, like he's trying to go into the All-Star break on like a 50 bomb or something.
no,
Uh, but that's not how it ended up. And instead, I think we lost, and not by his fault, but it like we just didn't have a bench tonight. And every time, just like the graph you showed in the beginning, like every time he comes out, there goes the lead. He comes back in, there's the lead. There goes the lead when he leaves again. Um,
yeah.
so like it's maybe unfair to give Ant a B, but again, this is based off of what we expect out of a player. And like at this point, like Ant has given us has risen his expectations because we expect him to have like an insane night almost every night. And,
Definitely.
tonight was a good night. And, if this would have been a year ago, Ant, we probably would have given him A1. But like now that he's done this, especially with Towns out, like this is not necessarily super surprising.
Is there one thing that you wish for us to get out of our team for the next game? I think we're playing. Are we playing Charlotte next? And Charlotte's like fully healthy now. Like, so
Charlotte,
watch out,
yes.
Charlotte.
Charlotte is a team that easily could beat us because we're not going to take them seriously. They have a really bad record, and they're similar to the Wizards. They have the Wizards don't have. I guess they have Beal, but beyond that, there's not really like I don't know. I guess maybe the Wizards do. They just have Timberwolves killers, like
Yeah,
like Kuzma's a Timberwolves killer. Kristaps Porzingis is usually a Timberwolves killer.
Gafford is.
Gafford's a Timberwolves killer, and
And
like
tonight
they
we
just
learned Kispert is.
Kispert is now. So like they just have all these players that like aren't going to be recognized a lot by like the national media. So we don't take them seriously. And as we've heard, I hate to use Ant as the example, but like in that podcast that he did with Austin Rivers, like he doesn't watch other NBA games. Like he doesn't even pay attention to the other teams in the league. So unless that name is being thrown at him, like he just doesn't care. So
Yeah.
like sure, maybe they'll guard LaMelo decent in the next game, but like all these other players, they just got rid of Mason Plumlee. So like whoever their center is, here's my prediction: they go off for a career high. Like they get like a 2020 game. I don't even know who it is. I
I don't know who
probably
it
have
is
never
either.
heard their name. They're gonna go off. But hopefully, my hope going forward into next week is that one, Ant stays healthy throughout All Star Weekend, and hopefully has a nice rest and doesn't nothing crazy happens. Um, Everybody else has good rest and really takes a moment to reflect and be like, guess what? It is now or never. We have to turn it up because we felt we were in the sixth seed coming into tonight. I believe we've gone down to the eighth seed now,
Damn.
which is a play in game. But again, these things can change so easily because
Yeah.
we're only a game and a half we're 2 games out of the fourth seed, but we're also 2 games out of being the 12th seed. So, you just can't, you have to take it so seriously going forward.
Mhm.
And, All Star break's not halfway through the season, it's well past halfway through the season. So, like
Yeah.
these last month and a half here, you just have to win so many games. And what did we discuss at the top of the show? All these games are not easy. This was your easy game. You don't have chances to play the Wizards anymore. I guess like you could maybe say that against the Hornets, but you can't anymore.
Mhm.
So um
I agree. I agree with that, Theo.
yeah, Theo's going nuts. But okay, so let's just go over it again. We play the Hornets, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Kings, the 76ers, the Nets, the Hawks, the Celtics, the Bulls. That might be a winnable game, maybe. The
Yeah.
Raptors.
No,
Is that winnable? I don't know.
I don't know.
The Knicks, they're on some win streak right now. The Hawks
They're
again.
looking really good. Yeah.
Like then we play the Warriors again, the Kings, the Suns, the Lakers. It doesn't get easier.
And
That
the
was I
Suns
just
with
read off all of
KD.
March. Yeah,
All of
that's gonna
March.
and
Yeah.
Katie will be back. The Lakers are gonna be unstoppable now with D'Lo and Vando and Beasley. They're gonna find a way,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
and it just make their team makes so much more sense. So you have zero wiggle room. And Mason, yeah, the Lakers are literally going to destroy us 100% because Vando's going to be there to like out rebound Rudy, and we're going to have D'Lo who's just going to go nuts on us.
Yeah.
It's destiny.
Oh my
It's just destiny.
gosh. That's gonna be the worst. That's gonna be the worst.
It really
But
is.
also maybe vindication for him because, like, I don't know what Jimmy Butler was right apparently, right, and
Yeah.
D'Lo was apparently right to be like, oh, Gobert sucks and is washed, and Conley. I want Conley to like take it personal that he had such a shit show tonight and like come aggressive and like be wanting to score. Like I love the fact that he's a team first player. Like we have so many team first players that makes us so selfless, and then that makes us like with 5 seconds left, who the fuck is throwing the ball tonight? Who's shooting right now? And we had several of those possessions where it almost felt like 24-second shot clocks, where we were just like, who hot potato, who's shooting tonight? We were just playing so beautifully, but also at the same time, like no one was aggressive enough, and like Slow-Mo had to turn it on, and that's like a little unfortunate because we should be at this point in the season, 60 games into the season, that everyone kind of has fallen into place, knows their role, knows where their place is to get hot, and Kyle turns it up when we don't have it, typically, and that's awesome, and that's amazing that we have that wild card in Slow-Mo. But like the fact that we have to rely on him, no other team that he's played on relied on him as heavily as we do right now.
Yep. I'm sick.
Yeah.
I'm sick. But we get a nice long break. We as fans get a break from the team, and we get to just enjoy whatever Anthony Edwards does during the All-Star break or doesn't do during the All-Star break. I almost expect very little out of him. I know he said he was coming out there to get an MVP or something like that. But like he for the Rising Stars game played like 2 minutes and then flew away like with 2 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. So like I almost expect him to do nothing.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's definitely what happens, right? I do feel like this is a silly question to ask, but like he's gonna go pretty high in like the All-Star draft because they're
Oh yeah, they have to
drafting the
draft
teams
him.
live before the game, which is
Yeah,
so stupid.
that
But
is interesting.
he's gonna go pretty high.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see where he goes. I think that says a lot about what the rest of the league thinks of him.
Yeah.
Because who are the captains? Is it
Giannis and LeBron again.
Giannis and LeBron? Okay. Yeah, I wonder what. Well, oh yeah, so yeah, either one of them could pick him. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
And I just realized that Curry's not playing and either in this All-Star game or when we play them next. So like
Mhm.
that is a potential winnable game, or both of those games are gonna be winnable. So I'm not saying positive things here. I'm saying like get your act together, Conley. Get your act together, the rest of the bench. Like, I don't know, right? I don't know how to fix the issue other than Noel needs to not play. And the people who are playing need to find a role for everyone to have the right players shooting the shots as opposed to watching Noel take them all, right? So
Yeah, Noel needs the Pat Bev explain your role meeting right now, as Mason says.
oh yeah, dude, I don't know why that was so like emphatic, but it sounded so pedantic. Like, who are you and why are you here? And
Yeah,
but it mattered, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. No,
what's your role? Like, you're not scoring 30 points a night, so what's your actual role?
I think it
And
does. I think it
it
does
helps.
help in many settings, like just to have people understand and like really air out what they think they are, so that
Yeah,
other people know what the other person is thinking. Even like,
yeah,
I mean, like, or correct certain incorrect thinkings, like,
yeah,
like that. Noel thinks that he's the number one option on a team, and that there's nobody else on the floor when
yeah.
he's got the ball. Um, but
Yeah, it's like a stand-up meeting in office in the beginning of the week. What's your role? What are you doing this week? And
and
then
no,
how did you do it? And then at the end of the week, you have a little bubble meeting. Like, how'd you do it? And did you do it?
and
So
Noel says, "Well, there was nobody else out on the court when I played, so
yeah,
I just kept shooting."
yeah, yeah. Well, cool.
Uh, well, we actually did it somewhat, a somewhat short show, but
Shorty.
um, that's
But
it
now we
for
have a new
us.
segment for you.
Yes, a new segment. It is Quadrant of Woe. No,
Oh,
which is what we're all living in right now. But,
we,
anyways, we are done for this beginning of this half of the season, I guess. I don't know. We will be back after the All-Star break. Again, though, apologies for my schedule. My schedule's been all over the place, so I apologize about that, and it will continue to be all over the place. But hopefully, I can make some more games, especially once we get down to playoff time. But well, or not, who knows? There may not be playoffs in our future.
well, respect
Um,
the hay anyway.
Respect the hay. Hashtag respect the hay. Buy the merch. That is it. Any last words from you?
Absolutely not.
Perfect. All right. Intro as the outro. 52 wins is still possible. We might have to win out.
We have to win out now.
Yeah. Amazing. Yep, we would have to win out, wouldn't we? Oh God, I hate everything. My
Oh
stupid prediction
no.
was right. Okay, before I quit being a Timberwolves fan live on air, we'll see
Ah.
you next time.